So, My Hero Academia holds a special place in my heart, but as the seasons went on, I sadly thought that it fell off. And that was mainly due to one thing, me just not liking Deku as a protagonist anymore. It wasn't that he sucked, okay, it kind of was, but I never had a problem with Deku being like Deku at the beginning of the series, right? And if he stayed that way, that's okay. But my problem is that the story forced him into a scenario where he should have changed at least a little bit, but I feel like we got no character from him. It was more of a Bakugo development than a Deku development, so I kind of feel bad that Izuku just gets absolutely nothing. And I feel like this should have been a big thing, because to me it's one of the overall like big themes of My Hero Academia. And to show what I mean, we're going to talk about, still to this day, my favorite episode of My Hero Academia, and that's Todoroki Shoto Origin. Now, this is probably my favorite My Hero Academia episode just ever. It's what got me so invested into the series, because it was just like one of those things like I watch because I'm bored, right? But that episode got me so invested into the story because it was different from any tournament where you try to win. Izuku was trying to save his opponent from his mental blockage, which is something that we've seen a lot in this show. The not only physical saving of a person, but a mental saving. And that was what season 4 was about. Around the middle of the fight, Deku actually feels some hatred or disdain towards Todoroki, because while Deku's breaking his limbs and going all out, Todoroki's just using one half of his powers. He's not truly trying, because in reality it's not just Deku who's trying his hardest and breaking himself to be the best. There are others in his class. Bakugo every day striving to be the #1, Uraraka who tried her best in the last match only to fail, and all the others of class 1A and class B. But yet Todoroki, he's only using half of what he was given. He was blessed with a quirk, one that Izuku could have only dreamed of, but Todoroki, he's not using it, all because of a simple temper tantrum from being given a quirk that belongs to him and him only. We eventually find out why Todoroki is like this, why he has such a disdain for his powers and who they come from, without realizing that just because his powers came from his father does not mean that his powers aren't his own. So Deku asks him the question, what kind of hero does he want to be? His mom also asks him the same question. You are not shackled by blood. It is okay for you to be who you want to be. And Todoroki answers, I want to be a hero. Todoroki is then able to use his fire powers, and he thanks Izuku. But that doesn't immediately solve the problem. He's still got trauma, he's still got doubts, and those are things that he gains confidence in as the story moves along. Now for season 4, what I believe season 4 is two halves split into one. One about physically saving someone, and the other about mentally saving someone. Now this is why I kind of don't like Gentle Criminal in the second half of season 4, because I do believe that the rest of the second half of season 4 should just be about healing Eri, her mental state, her trauma, everything should just be about that single plot point, right? Because in My Hero Academia, there's a lot of talk about not just saving physically, but also mentally. It's why Izuku is trying so hard to get into the mind of Shigaraki, trying to understand him. Same with Uraraka and Toga. Mental healing is just as important of a factor in My Hero Academia as physical healing is. You save the person physically from the bad guy, but how do they feel about that? How does that emotionally impact them, right? That should be also a driving force for the heroes. All Might wanted to be a symbol of peace because it not only saved people physically, but in their heart it gave them this idea that with All Might everything will be okay, right? With All Might new generations will be inspired. With All Might villains will stop coming out and criminals will stop coming out, because All Might and the new generation of heroes inspired by him are there. All Might's presence as a symbol of peace is to calm the masses. And that takes us back to the fight with Todoroki. How can Todoroki sit there and only use half of his powers, when out on the field, lives will be on the line? He will have to use his fire powers or else innocents will die. And how does Todoroki get to sit there and say, my issues are more important than the lives of innocent people out there without a quirk, without a way to protect themselves, without a way to fight? And those things together are what genuinely piss Izuku off. Now, Season 4 entirely is literally just about saving this one girl, okay, Eri. We save her physically from a villain called Overhaul, and in the second half, we're saving her mentally. Mirio and Izuku, they're taking her to the school, and they're gonna have like a little festival, and they're gonna try to cheer her up, right? Because she's all sad and depressed because she just got like nuked. She got experimented on or something like that. I don't really remember what happens, but yeah, so she's all sad, and they're gonna try to cheer up, and in the end they do. I mean, Izuku has to fight Gentle, which I'm gonna be honest, I did not care for. I feel like that should not have been in the season, because the main focus should have been about mentally saving this little girl from her trauma and heartache. But it is what it is. That's something I also don't like. But anyways, back to the main point. What does Todoroki and Eri's situation have to do with Izuku? Okay, the events of the Paranormal Liberation War arc are insane. Deku and many others are hurt. Many heroes are dead. Todoroki and Endeavor are just absolutely cooked out the wazoo because of Dabi, and Dabi also made people lose faith in the heroes, so now they're even more cooked. Shigaraki murdered like 8 billion people. Shigaraki got cooked himself because All for One. Yeah, so many things happen. And then Deku got his little emo phase because, you know, he realized that if he stays in UA, he's not going to be safe. If he stays anywhere in one place, he's not going to be safe, and then civilians and innocent aren't going to be safe. So he kind of has to go everywhere. He has to take down One for All himself, not One for All for One himself, because if not, everyone's just dead. Now we reach the Dark Hero arc, and this is where Deku's character is at his lowest. He's tired, he's fighting, he's being selfless and selfish at the same time. He's selfishly fighting alone because he thinks that he's being selfless by making sure others don't get into his mess. But when he is being selfish, he pushes everyone away, which goes against what he said to Stain. Meddling when you don't need to is the essence of being a hero. Izuku is quoting All Might to Ida in this moment, which is why Stain has such a high regard for him. But Izuku himself forgets this. He was meddling in Ida's affairs, but now he's not letting anyone meddle in his own. He's lost his way. He's losing the understanding of what it means to be a hero. He thinks that if he leaves everyone out, then no one will get hurt. And while yes, no one's getting hurt, people are still losing faith in their heroes. And him not allowing others to meddle in isn't helping in that regard, because then the others aren't allowed to raise the reputation of heroes, telling them that heroes are still out there. Everyone is in fear. They even fear Izuku. Anyways, to get to the most infuriating part of this arc is Deku. He's struggling physically and mentally, okay? He's hurt, and there's a reason he acts like this. The thing is, we don't get to know that from his perspective. We get to know that from everyone else's perspective. All Might, Bakugo, Class 1A, they tell us, yo, Deku, he's struggling, man. He's hurt. He's all alone, like Busta. We know this, but how is he feeling about that? Okay, like he's like, yo, everyone get away from me. I don't want you guys to get hurt. And then Bakugo's like, I'm sorry. And then Kaminari's like, let's go in a bath. And then boom, they go in a bath, and Deku's like, what the what is happening, bro? Like, we get no introspection like with Bakugo, Ida, Todoroki. Like, dude, like even Mirio gets something, dude. All Might. But my boy Izuku, he gets nothing, dude. Like bro doesn't flip out. Bro doesn't even just talk about his feelings, bro. Bro doesn't let it all out. He's like, dude, he's just like, I take a bath, boom, we're chilling. Like, for real? Izuku was not saved mentally through the power of like words or actions or flashback. He was saved through the power of bath and apology. Now, Horikoshi had good ideas. It just horrible execution. Okay, the Uraraka scene of when the hero saves everyone who's going to save the hero was fantastic. Okay, the problem is the execution amounted to nothing. Okay, we got a whole nothing burger this arc. Like okay, Deku's chilling with people, everyone dies, depression arc, he learns to let people in, Bakugo apologizes, Uraraka does the thing, bath, and then he's chilling with everyone again. Like, what happened? Like, bro learned straight up nothing from what happened in that arc. Heck, Uraraka, the character that is now helping Deku, also had a character arc of her own. Like Uraraka, Bakugo, Todoroki, heck, even All Might, Endeavor. Okay, these guys, they learned, they grew, not just as heroes, but as people. And when they fight on the battlefield, it reflects that. It reflects that change, that ideology, what they do, who they help, how they struggle, how they deal with turmoil and conflict internally and externally. But for Deku, none of that happens. His plan was always to save Shigaraki, no matter what. His plan was always to have One for All defeated. His plan was always to have All for One defeated. His plan was always to be a hero just like All Might. I guess he does let people fight for him while he's resting in the final arc. But he was doing that anyways, so nothing much changed. It was just a single arc where he didn't let that happen. And even then, he was working with Hawks and Endeavor to some degree. What made the fight against Deku and Todoroki so interesting to me was how we got a deep dive into both characters. Izuku, who's struggling to use his powers. Izuku, who thinks he's cheating and was being blessed with something he didn't deserve. Izuku, who's fighting with his all and knows that everyone else is fighting with theirs. Against Todoroki, someone who has been struggling to use his full power because of the trauma, because of what he believes his identity is. He believes that his left half is connected to Endeavor, the person he hates the most, whereas Izuku's powers, which are breaking him on the inside, are connected to All Might, the person he admires and loves the most. This is a deep dive into two characters and how they think, not only how they fight, but how they think and how it reflects that. Izuku in this final arc, nothing happens in the style of which he fights with or which in the way he thinks. He is the same as he was during the Paranormal Liberation arc. So it makes me ask the question, what was the Dark Hero arc about? What did it serve? What was its purpose? Besides giving surface level ideas, it was a whole nothing burger. Now hopefully maybe I could find a video or a comment that would explain to me the purposes of this arc. But to me, it didn't serve the purpose that it should have. And I think that's what went wrong with not only just Deku, but My Hero Academia.